everybody like really brought their A game on this one, and I'm so proud of like our team for like really throwing this together. And this is 100% the definitive edition of at least 2024 Cognitive. 2026, I don't know. Maybe like I have yet to see anybody like pipe up on the internet like I like their old shit better. Haven't seen it yet. But like I don't know. We'll see.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Trendcrusher podcast. I'm Peter K, aka Trendcrusher. Before we get into today's episode, I must say a huge shout out to everyone for checking out the last two episodes. I didn't expect the response to the new metal episodes that I did get. And a huge shout out also to a member of Stillborn Nursery who shared a story on Instagram about the episode and even linked me to a Dis-IV track. So I'm going to put that. If you're curious about it, I'm going to link all of it to the show notes. If you haven't already heard the episode, do check it out. Now, from new metal to some death metal. This episode is going to be all about that. And to start off this episode, as you've seen, I got Shane Jost from Cognitive to talk about their latest album, Abhorrence. But before that, I've got a new single from the death metal act Fuming Mouth. The track I'm going to play was supposed to be on their last album, Last Day of Sun, but it ended up not fitting on the vinyl. And the track is Daylight Again. The vocalist and guitarist Mark Whelan, he described the track Daylight Again as it expresses that the future is bright. It got so dark for the band behind the scenes and that they lost many friends and had so many issues. It felt like it would never end. Here's a track all about it, Daylight Again.
What
and that was Fuming Mouth with Daylight Again. The band are currently on tour across the US with August Burns Red. Do check out their social media profiles for all the dates. Now on to my interview with Shane Jost from the technical death metal act Cognitive. Their new album Abhorrence is out right now, and I had a great chat with him about it. It fucking rips. If you haven't already, why don't you hit pause, go check out a track or two from that album, and come back and listen to my chat all about it. Here it is. Hey Shane, welcome to the podcast.
Hello, Peter. How's it going, bud?
And I must acknowledge that your cat is around. So hello, and what's your cat's name?
My cat's name is Binky. She needs a lot of attention today. I think she could tell that I'm about to go on tour, so she's just like climbing all over me and just like is all over the computer desk, and it's like, Dad's got to do press. There she is. Hello.
Yeah, and there's so much to talk to you guys about. I mean, like, one thing I wanted to also chat with you about all things Cognitive is because you guys are constantly putting out new music, recording, touring. I mean, and this has not been something that's just a phenomena over the last few years, right? You guys have been doing this for a while. So now that, we're gearing up for the release of your fifth album, Abhorrence, how does it feel? Is it new, different? I don't know. What's the feeling like?
It's still like always Binky. Come on. It's always like so exciting to like get back out on the road and just like come to your town, like come to your city and just make a lot of noise and just hang out with everybody. It's always a blast, but like, yeah, I've been in the band and constantly touring for like 7 straight years now. And like Rob's been doing it since the dawn of time. There she goes. She just knocked something off the counter. Yeah, it's rad. It's so like stressful and like so like overwhelming at times, but for that half hour, 45 minutes that we're like on stage and then like hanging out with everybody afterwards, it's 1,000% worth it.
Definitely want to tap on the entire thing of touring. So we'll hold that thought for a bit. Why don't we talk about your latest album, Abhorrence? We're talking a couple of weeks in advance. And I was going through some of your old interviews, and I'm going to quote you. Please don't mind, where you actually described a previous album, the album titled Malevolent Thoughts of a Hastened Extinction. You said that was the definitive Cognitive record. How do you feel about that now, all these years later?
I don't know who said, like, I don't know if that was me or if that was somebody else, probably me. I don't know. But how naive we were. Because it's like that was definitely like, I feel like Malevolent Thoughts like was where the band like really found its core and like where we really like found our sound, like because like we all have so many different like musical influences, like, and we're so vastly different from one another. Just we finally got all the right spices like into the stew and like made something really good with Malevolent. But then we found the chili pepper, and we found the other, like we opened up the spice rack and it was just like, yo, there's other shit in here. And oh yeah, I can this radio, am I able to curse on here? I just
yeah, go for it.
Okay. I always ask that fucking question after the fact. Not a professional,
sorry kids.
Yeah, you death metal fans still being offended by swearing. Anyway, but yeah, like that. I've another couple years from now, I'm gonna say like, oh, how naive, but like, I think that like we gave everything we have to this record. It's like this is the one to where If you don't like this one, you just don't like what we do, and that's fine. But like this is like it was a lot more collaborative than the last one was, and it's like I mean I even got a track on this one. Like the the singer wrote a guitar song. Like like everybody like really brought their A game on this one, and I'm so proud of like our team for like really throwing this together. And it's yeah, this is 100% the definitive edition of at least 2024 cognitive. 2026, I don't know. Maybe like I have yet to see anybody like pipe up on the internet like I like their old shit better. Haven't seen it yet. But like I don't know. We'll see.
No, it's interesting that you say that, right? Because as someone who's been listening to metal for like a couple of decades now, right? And graduating from the magazine articles to like early blabbermouth and stuff like that, and now podcasts and stuff. Without fail, I think one stereotype about all metal bands is this is our heaviest album yet. This is our best
Yeah.
album yet. And I was like, but wait, you'll say that every few years. So
Yeah.
sorry about putting you on the spot there, but I just wanted to
Oh no,
understand
we're
just
good.
in terms of comparison, right? Uh,
It's I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, I wanted to kind of peel the onion around the writing process because I read another quote, and this is actually attributed to your guitarist Rob, who said that you all actually started writing while you all were on tour. And which kind of goes back
Yes.
to what I was saying earlier, right? You guys are constantly on tour and writing and releasing new music. How does that kind of process work for a band like yours? I mean, do you all carry like a mobile recording kit of some sort? Break that down for all the listeners.
Sort of like we like when it comes to like if we need to like record like a scratch track to like get an idea out there, like our drummer will like we use like a laptop for like backing tracks and like for like all that kind of stuff that has an audio interface on it. We just upload Reaper and then just kind of like demo what we need to. But like a lot of the times it's just like we'll like have a day off and like the guys will be like tabbing out like guitar stuff that they needed to work on together, or, like just really just like hammering down the nails in like a hotel room somewhere. And I can't relate because like I come pretty like later on in the recording process. Like I try to like get it as close to pre-production as I can, like right when they're like demo version 3 or like whenever the song structure is there. That's when I'll plug in what I need to, like with like just starting off with just like random just mouth noises and then like figuring out like what kind of syllables go where and then plug in the narrative.
Yeah, and that makes sense also, right? Because uh and I'm also curious, so I'm going to hold that question a bit. Is you said you actually got a track on this album, so I'm wondering how you did that. But that's one of the things with the singers, because going into some of the past interviews I've done, there are times where singers are writing, the lyrics while they're still in the studio recording and stuff like that, or finalizing it. And
Oh
that
yeah.
for me is like, wow, that's like, what do I say, last minute cramming before your exams, so to
Nah,
say.
couldn't be me. I am too anxious of a person. Like
Oh my God.
and
Yeah.
like I like we all like hold each other accountable for like how far we are along in the process. By the time we hit the studio, all like pretty much everything is like pretty much solid. And of course, if something cool happens in the studio, yeah, it goes on the record. But like most of it is premeditated. Like especially like I can't speak for the other guys, but on my end, I try to make sure that like I have everything where it's supposed to be. I've like re-recorded like finalized demos, or like we'll go into like pre-production and I'll do like just a quick like record it in a couple chunks, like versions of the song. That way we have references to go back to. We can compare and contrast and like really get the best product to like just push out to everybody. Like the most like prepared and like honest and like genuine expression of what we're able to capture.
Yeah. Now, I have to say, and I'm going to comment now itself, is since I got Abhorrence, it's been one of those albums that I kind of used to like pump myself up before like a workout or something like
Oh,
that.
my
Just
man.
kind of like psych. And I'm pretty sure that's something that you kind of heard, right? So just,
Yeah.
but does that matter to you all or think uh,
I,
like how do people consume your music or when do they use it? Because let's be honest, it's 2024, right? No one's actually sitting in front of like a particular space and listening to music, or like
yeah.
sometimes they're just sampling like one or two songs, not the entire album. Does that go into consideration at all while you're writing or recording the album?
I mean, honestly, not really. Like I like I'll have like we or at least I do. Like I'll think like when I get an instrumental, like I'll think like what is this song gonna sound like in a live sense?
Okay,
And
fair.
then kind of like if like this is the heavy part, it's like okay, here's where the mosh call goes, so I'm gonna leave it purposefully blank and then use that to just tell people to like physically assault one another and hope that I'm just they know that there's like in good fun, like consensually, you know. But yeah, it's like we're very much more of like a live band. So like I think that some of that energy will transfer into the record. So if it's chest day and you get like you get if you get cognitive rotation, you're immediately gonna lift an extra 10 pounds. I guarantee it. I will stamp that.
So I think a great segue into this is which was one of the tracks of the album that you thought when you first heard it instrumentally that this was going to be that, banger live where people are going to fucking pulverize each other into oblivion?
Oh, dude, fucking I've got two. It's the like breakdown in Savor the Suffering.
Okay.
Like the one with like the chainsaw audio clip beforehand. It's like the
Okay.
breakdown that happens afterwards is so reminiscent of like early All Shall Perish or like digging into that like MySpace deathcore shit that I just fucking love so
Oh my
much.
God.
It's where it's like I just pictured like somebody is like gonna catch a stray to the head and it's I feel bad for him, but like sometimes people fucking love that shit. I don't know, like that's gonna be an instance of just let's call it crowd participation. And then in like Rorschach, like that
Okay.
that whole song is just super fucking groovy. So I'm sure that people are gonna fuck each other up to that one too.
Okay. So I think we've got two tracks. Let's start off with Savor the Suffering. And depending on whether you see it live or you're listening to it at home, you can kind of interpret the title, but here it is. And that was Cognitive with Savor the Suffering. And I'm talking to Shane from the band. Now, the only reason I'm kind of bringing this up is because you said a word which I think I've brought up quite often recently. And I think everyone who's around the same age as me remembers well, MySpace. And I don't know
Yeah,
how,
dude.
but I think I definitely need to give a huge shout out because I think one of the bands that kind of blew up thanks to MySpace, you mentioned All Shall Perish, but also Job for a Cowboy, right?
Yes.
And their fucking album is so good. I think
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I've brought this up on the podcast already, and it is amazing that it's 2024. There are a lot of these bands popping back up uh, on various labels and stuff like that, and they're releasing really really good music. Uh, what were some of those bands, other bands that you kind of got into? Because I'm assuming like you remember the MySpace days,
Oh yeah.
which were a lot of fun.
Uh so as far as the as like the MySpace days goes, like obviously it's like I'm a big fan of Whitechapel, like big fan of Carnifex, the Black Dahlia Murder, Suicide Silence, like that was very much like all those bands like very like they influenced a good part of what I do because like that was just everything that I was listening to in high school and like just like my formative years as a musician. But then like the more obscure stuff like your Elijah, like Abacab, I Declare War, like just absolutely pummeling like just caveman like zero IQ fucking it just stupid heavy stuff you don't got to think about that just it just boosts your strength score by one.
Yeah, yeah. It was, I think there was an entire movement, and I'm guessing this was like 2004, 5. Yeah, about 20 odd years ago. It's strange to kind of talk about it with such vivid memories, but I remember those days really well. And you had a lot of these bands pop up. But coming back to Abhorrence, and one of the things I noticed is, and correct me if I'm wrong, but this is your second album that you're doing with the same lineup. So
Yes.
I wanted to check, and we can do both, right? What was different this time around writing and recording the album, and what was the same?
Well, what was different was that it's the exact same lineup. Like nobody quit. It was great. Like and I mean just life gets in the way for some people and like as soon as it's not like financially viable or like you have to like take care of yourself then yeah, it's you got to step away because I mean, let's be 1,000% transparent. Like, there's not a lot of like, it's so hard to make this like financially lucrative. It's like I understand if people gotta like step away. There's usually never like a like bad blood or like any sort of like drama with it. But like the fact that like that we have the same lineup as last time, now we know how to work to each other's strengths and like cover each other's weaknesses. It's where it's just a lot more of like the recording process was way smoother on this one than it was for Malevolent. And like it was like the songs were like more fun to write. Like we got like we wrote too many songs. Like we cut a good portion of them because like they were just these were the best 10. And like we released Rot Eternal as a single because like we really love that song and we're just like I don't know where to put it.
Okay, that
Fuck it,
makes
put it
sense.
out by itself.
Okay, fair enough. But I mean, and I know this is like one of those tough questions, right? Or it's tough to kind
Yeah,
of
of course.
explain, but uh, is there a democratic process as to, hey, these are the 10 songs, or how do you all kind of go about it? Because let's be
Yeah,
honest, if everyone's written a certain song, then that's closer to them than compared to another song, right?
Yeah, like we very rarely have to put an actual vote to it, but like there will be like certain songs to where or like I'll use the last record as an example. The track "The Maw" on Malevolent Thoughts.
Hmm.
Like I didn't like it at first. Like I was trying to like shoot that one down in favor of like I think we had like one extra song. I was like, I think this one's better. And seeing the live reaction to it, god damn, I was wrong. But like it's like we'll yeah, like we just like the dynamic is like Rob is like this is definitely like Rob's brainchild. Like this is like he's in charge. This is his band. But like we all support like that vision as well and like bring our own like stuff into the mix to where like it isn't like a whatever Rob says goes things, but
Hmm.
like yeah, it's pretty like democratic when it comes to like song choices and stuff like that. And then like he'll handle a lot of like the day-to-day stuff and like if he like needs input on it, he'll ask us. It's very very like good balance in that regard.
Okay. Uh, Shifting gears a bit, and I think y- this is one of the segments I really enjoy doing, and I feel you would also enjoy kind of answering this, veering that direction. Does the entire process of writing, touring, and all leave a lot of opportunity for you to listen to other music? And if you do, what's something that you've been listening to in the last week or 10 days or so?
Yeah, like I listen to like a of like a fair amount of music. You know what? Let me not try to guess and just see what I've been jamming lately. Just kind of look at my cell phone here. Uh, Not a lot of metal, honestly. It's
Okay.
like I end up just like burning out on it, like just like constantly like living in it. But most recently there's a band called Aaron West and the Roaring Twenties that I've been jamming a ton. They just put out an album called In Lieu of Flowers. Excellent, excellent stuff. It's kind of like it's kind of like a like folk almost or
Okay.
like kind of like Americana like country kind of stuff. But in I checked out an album or an EP from band Mouth Breather called Doll Meat. That shit
Okay.
was absolutely incredible. It's all coming back to MySpace. It just scratches that chaotic like early metalcore itch. The new See You Space Cowboy record is absolutely phenomenal. Uh I got some friends in a band called American Hollow
Okay.
that like they just put out a new single. It's such a weird mix of like it's like it has like the energy of like Body Snatcher, but also is like very like new metal and like hip hop influenced. It's very interesting. Like if nothing else, though, like that team is just very like experimental, like forward thinking, just trying shit, and I'm 100% here for it.
Come in the cut with a text, I'm gonna get custom, but I scroll up like a troll. Pull up with a bad bitch looking for me. Scroll up to some money, we'll start showing. And we can't sleep till I get this one. Few beers here, that'll last you, but let's get wavy. We all know what she's better get hazy. Scorsese, lost souls coming, and we are new shit. Know that we do this, trying to keep your face, see face. We are less fake, so we play. Freaking on me, just shield your face. It's like you've been here before. judge a tree by the fruit it bears, not the fruit it talks about. I'm a big deal in your mouth. You must know the taste. I can't hide my hate. I want everyone to feel the pain when it's your personal. I want to know what it sounds like. It feels like I will make it listen. It's like you bring it to flood. Every action of left done. You make what you can play. Eyes closed, refusing to say.
So, of course, we have to touch upon touring because that's such an integral part of just
Oh
not
yeah.
just your music, but also something that you personally enjoy well. And you guys are actually going out on tour with Party Cannon. They have the European tour, Vomit tour happening later this month when the album's out. I have to say, because I know you guys have been touring Europe a bit, what's your favorite part about touring in Europe?
I've only been there once, and that was like 5 years ago. And so it's my favorite thing about Europe currently is going back. But uh I mean, dude, the food is so much better in Europe. I'm a fucking fat American. Like it's great to like get some food that isn't like just absolutely processed and like has a ton of preservatives in it. It's like that's great. The like all the architecture and like it's very like just like scenically like different. It's like that's fun and like gonna be in Germany, like the farm, like just everything over there is just like gorgeous to look at. And they don't really use a ton of traffic signals. So that's interesting. Like just always going through like circles and stuff.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
Europe's a blast. And everybody's just like from what I can tell is like just I haven't had any negative experiences with like people that are like at the shows. So like it seems like there's a lot of like respect. You get treated like a human over there. It's great.
No, definitely. I mean, I spent a bunch of time in Europe years ago living. I lived in Eastern Europe, and then I was in Europe last year in September, and I happened to catch a show over there. It's, the only strange part, and correct me if I'm wrong, Europe, you need to actually get people to mosh. In the US, you don't need to have to encourage people. And the reason I say that is because the show I attended was this French band Fange, and this was in Paris, and
Yeah.
a Canadian band called Ken Mode. And the fact that like Fange had to get people to mosh, and then for Ken Mode, people just anyway moshed. And I was like, oh wow, like they didn't have to like call out to people.
Yeah, it was that's definitely a challenge, like especially as a frontman over in Europe. It seems like a lot of times people are just like do this motion a bunch. Like they just want to fucking like swing this imaginary hammer. And I'm just like, you're almost there. Just continue and follow through. But like, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
it's definitely like they not a lot of movement over there. Or like the circle pits are like quarter speed and they'll just be like marching in a circle. it's
Yeah,
it's different. It's like
totally, totally. And I must also add, because you're also touring in Canada, you're touring with Benighted. That's in the fall.
yeah.
Another sick French band again. Um, is there any more shows or tours? Because this is going to air closer to your album release date. So anything that you
Uh,
can talk about until then?
I don't. When does I, I don't know like what's gonna be like released at some point. Like I was trying to like get a hold of Rob to be like, okay, what can we talk about? What can we not? And it's like
The
at like we're gonna be like headed out with shit. I can't recall off the top of my head.
okay, I was like, if it doesn't get announced by the time I release this, I'll just cut it out.
I
That was
gotcha.
going to be my thing.
Yeah, fair enough. I don't have the dates yet, but I think we're gonna be headed out with cytotoxin in the
Okay.
fall. And like
Oh yeah,
it's gonna be like their first time over here, like ever in the States. So, like that's gonna be absolutely crazy.
yeah.
I
They're
just don't know
another fucking
when. Yeah, like those guys are so good. I can't wait to see it.
yeah. It's good. They're fucking sick band, and I think yeah. When I'm thinking about it, right? Also, it's not just you guys, but also the support act. I mean, the bands that you're supporting and performing with, right? There is a kind of crossover that will happen. I mean, I love Party Cannon. One of the things about them is I know there is a gimmick, but you can also kind of get into that, right? You can kind of back it. It's not just the gimmick with the imagery and stuff like that. And they're really fun
Yeah,
guys. Uh,
yeah, like they live it. Like they're like just so fun to be around. So, like this, the fact that like that group of people made Party Cannon makes sense to me. And the live show is an absolute party. Like pun fully intended. You guys at home, stop using no pun intended. Intend your puns, you fucking cowards.
All right. So lots to look forward to from Cognitive this year. But any final words, anything you want to say to all the listeners?
Yeah, just I mean, of course, subscribe to this channel, like, comment, subscribe, tell your friends, all the good stuff. Uh Stream Abhorrence, play it for everybody. And yeah, just everything is gonna be all right. Stop stressing out so much. Like everything is chill. Just be kind to one another, be kind to yourself, and yeah, keep supporting whatever the fuck you support.
Wow, those are great words to end this chat on. Thanks so much, Shane. Totally appreciate you taking time out to speak to me.
Peter, it was great meeting with you, and yeah, thank you so much for having me, man.
And that was Shane Jost from Cognitive. It's always fun talking about the MySpace era, and strangely enough, we ended up talking and strangely enough, we did end up talking a bit about new metal also, and thanks to him for the recommendation of American Hollow. This weekend is stacked with lots of new music. I've got 2 interviews coming up in the next few days with bands that have released music this weekend. For more on that, do follow me on social media. Just search for Trendcrusher and you'll know when the new episode drops in. It'll probably be a couple of days from now. And if you haven't already, do follow or subscribe on the podcast platform that you're listening to this episode on. That's all for me for this episode. I'll see you all in a few days. Cheers.